All right, I got 6:28. It's close enough to 6:30 here, so let me just read this paragraph I have to read before the meeting. Before I do that, actually, I want to make sure everybody's, I know everybody's there, but I just want to make sure, Nancy, you're there?
Aye.
Dave, you're there?
Aye.
Okay. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. This meeting is being conducted remotely and will be recorded and be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link that is found on the town website, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter meeting ID 766-316-7607. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. So it's 6:30 and I'll call the meeting to order. I don't see any public comment, so we might as well go to the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from January 5th, 2022 meeting. That was a pretty short meeting. I assume you both have had a chance to look at the meeting at the minutes.
Yeah.
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 Are there any errors or omissions to it?
I didn't see any.
No, I'm all set.
All right, so can I get a motion to accept the minutes as written?
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye, Yasko.
Dave?
Aye, I said that, yep, aye.
And an aye for myself. The next item is basically a formality, but we have to do it every year. Every year at this time, we have to vote our annual appropriation at town meeting. And this amount is taken from the sale or loss account. And what that does is it funds our expenses for the year and any improvements that we are undertaking. Our annual expenses are pretty much static. They don't change too much. We have $1,800 we pay to Rainmaker for the website hosting and maintenance. We have some smaller items. The bathroom at the cemetery building. And this year we have another expense of Mrs. Balcom is going to take care of the flowers this year for us. Other than that, there's not a lot of expenses. A lot of it's been changed over the years. As far as improvements go, the only improvement that I foresee this year is finishing off the Goodrich burial ground on Fish Street. As you recall, last year we had the trees taken down and cleaned up and loamed and seeded. And we have an offer of free labor to construct a stone wall that will enclose the whole cemetery with an iron gate. And that that expense is roughly going to be about $6,000. We've talked about this before, and I think it's at least my own opinion anyway. I think it's would behoove us to take advantage of the free labor to get this done, and then that cemetery will be done for the ages, hopefully. Other than that, there's not a lot of expenses this year. The only one that comes to mind is, I know we had talked about creating a brochure or a folder of some sort that we could hand out or give to people that have bought lots. I don't know, Dave, you would have a better idea of what that would cost, but I don't even have an idea of, we haven't really formulated what we're going to do yet. So I guess to figure out a cost is a little preliminary, but I would envision some sort of a folder with the rules and regulations and, that sort of thing. What do you guys think?
But I think we should do it. I don't have the exact cost for you yet, but the folder will be more than the brochures. But we're not gonna need that many because you don't have that many to hand out every year, right?
No,
The maximum was what, 100 that you would hand out a year?
that would probably be more than we need. I know
Yeah.
it's, the way printing goes, the more you print, the cheaper it is. But
Right.
we're not going to print 1,000 of them. So I would guess 100, 250 or something like that. I don't know. We can talk about it. What do you think, Nancy?
No, I think that's great. And I think, we can make it, maybe, Dave, maybe in your world, it's better we buy, we'll say, the folders that you put it in, or and then the inserts or something. Is that cheaper? I guess what I'm saying is, if you get the folders and you got, let's say, 500 of them because they were cheaper, you wouldn't have to buy that for X amount of years out, and then you just have the interlays that be put in, or the different brochure things that you're going to put in there. Does that make sense?
Definitely. In fact, you would even be able to maybe put some of the aerial views of the cemeteries on the inside so people can see where they would want their relative place. You can even do that. So instead of having sheets of paper. But we can discuss that at a later time. But yes, that would be better.
Yeah, because go ahead, Nancy.
No, what I was going to say is, just don't forget the software that people can get to can also do the same thing. They can see that, but that's not, Bill, if I'm correct in this, they can only see kind of what's open. It doesn't show like the actual prettiness of the cemetery, right?
You're talking about the burial search website?
Right.
No, it doesn't show. No, it doesn't show an aerial photo. No, all it is just a grid. Actually, it's just a grid which
Right.
shows.
It just shows the grid, right?
Okay.
Right. But we can, being in printing my whole life, I know that having a folder printed with some sort of a photo on it is pretty expensive. So, I think we can certainly use a generic folder that we could buy and just insert what we want in there. That's certainly a lot cheaper to do.
Yes, definitely. I'm trying to
But again,
look it up for you now even, but it might take a little while.
but
Yeah,
we're
so
getting ahead of
Dave, if you can just do a preliminary, just kind of do like, this is how much it would cost if we got, one photo in there or something like that, and then this is what it is for this, this, and this. Would you say that's the right way to go, Bill?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we would want, I'm trying to think if it would be better to have, one folder with photos of both cemeteries, or have a folder for each cemetery. I don't know.
One folder of both cemeteries, I would say.
Yeah.
Well, aren't we running out of room over in the South Cemetery?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not a lot left there. There's more than what I thought, but no, I mean, it's definitely,
Do you remember the number?
no, I don't. No, I
Okay.
don't. But if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say it's less than 100.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. There is some other area there that could be used, but from what I understand, it's you're going to be careful in areas that haven't been used yet, because people have, that's an old cemetery, South Cemetery, and a lot of pauper graves and things like that. So you don't really know what's there. So until you do that, you're better off staying within the area, what's there.
Okay.
But again, I think it's around 100 or so. I'd have to ask Todd. I don't know exactly how many is left there, but and when they're gone, they're gone. That's
Yeah.
the point of right now, it seems like we're getting more and more cremations than anything else. So that can extend the life of the cemetery a lot longer. If people already have a plot, they can do several cremations in a lot. So, but that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, Dave, if you could, just get some rough figures, what kind of folders and things like that, and just like for 200 or 250, what it would cost roughly.
Okay.
We can figure out what's going to go in there later.
Okay.
So unless you have you want to discuss this appropriation more, I would entertain a motion to appropriate the sum of $10,000 from the sale of lots account at the FY23 annual town meeting.
Second it.
We have to have a motion first. Well, somebody has to make the motion first.
All right, I'll make the motion.
I can't make a motion. I can just second it.
I'll make a motion for the sum of the cost of the $10,000 from the sale of lots to the account for the FY23 annual town meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
All right, so let me take, no further discussion. Let me take a vote here. Nancy?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And aye for myself. Okay. The only other thing on the agenda, this is like a preliminary discussion on the revision of the cemetery rules and regulations. We had talked about this probably the meeting before, a couple of meetings before. And I think we're in pretty much agreement that we need to overhaul this whole rules and regulations that we have and make it a lot more concise, a lot more easier to read and understand. I did a few searches of area towns, Townsend, Pepperell, Westminster, Ashby, and just about every one of them had a one-page document of rules and regulations. Right now we have 3. And a lot of the things that are on there aren't really necessary. They were added over the years for one reason or another. And most of them I don't think have to be there anymore. But my goal, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, but would be to come up with a page of rules and regulations that would basically, for the most part, mimic what's on our signs. I mean, those are the basic rules that most cemeteries have. Cemeteries have some couple different things depending on what they want to have, but I mean, that would be the basic rules. There might be a few other things we want to add to it, but even if we had to have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just to make things easier, other than the rules that are on the sign, if we can just say, other than mulch and flowers on any graves that anything else has to be approved by the cemetery commission. Because that way, we won't have all these trees going in there or, any ornaments or anything else.
Well, like I say, I mean, I think, I think we'd have to add a little bit to what's on the signs. No, I don't mean add it to the signs, but add a few things that are rules and regulations about trees, things like that, and make it more, concise and right to the point of what they can do and what they can't do. But if we could have at least one page for the rules and regulations, and even if we had to have a separate page for the fees and burial costs. Right now, it's all combined in one big document, and it's just very, very confusing.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do, just for a starting point, and again, I'm not trying to, take over here, but I think we have to start somewhere. So what I'd like to do is just come up with a preliminary draft of some rules and regulations, and we'll start there. And then this is going to take some time to do. Now, I can see this is going to take, we'll be on agenda for quite a few meetings, tweaking it. But I think if we start somewhere with a draft, and we can add and subtract and whatever we have to do to it, and then we can go from there. With a situation with the new DPW director, I think we need to let that person get settled a little bit, and let them get the lay of the land before we throw a whole bunch of regulations at them. We would definitely want to have their input on it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to us what the rules and regulations are. But I wouldn't want to put something on there that they were completely against. I'd like to have some compromise and discussions about it. But that would be my idea. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but what I'd like to do is in our April meeting, I'll present a draft of the basic rules that I think need to be there. And then we'll go from there. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to do the same thing that you did. I want to look at the other ones to see how we can, like I said, better put things down that's easier to read. The thing that I want to be careful of, again, is when we put in about the decorative rocks or whatever, meaning I don't want to get into a situation like we did last year with Moisten.
No, I understand. That's something we gotta be careful in the wording.
Well, I think the way out of that is exactly if we make the rules, meaning you have a foot and a half, whatever, we'll just say whatever that is, in front of the gravestone, that you can have your mulch. And if you want to have a heart rock right in the middle of that mulch, as long as it's not going on the grass, there is no reason why that can't be there.
No, I agree, but I think one of the sticking points was, I think the reason, and that rule has been there for a while, but the last time we updated these rules was back in 2019 or something. I'm not sure if the decorative rocks was on there, but I think that was intended for people that put these little, have you seen these rocks that people paint, little tiny stones that they paint and put in front of the gravestone? I think that was what that's the reason that's there. But if they have an area in front of the stone that's separated with mulch and they want to put some stones on there, I don't have a problem with it. But
right. I mean, the most important thing is we just.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I said go ahead. Oh.
So I think the most important thing is we don't want, obviously, the lawnmower to pick it up and then someone get hit in the face or eye or something with it. So as long as we need to figure out, again, if that's, a foot, 2 feet, whatever we're doing, and put it in front of the stone, meaning in front of the grave site. As long as it falls in that category, then you can put 100 rocks in there as long as they're in that mulch and they're not going anywhere.
Right, right.
Okay.
But but just remember, at the end of the day, as we had that meeting, last fall, that at the end of the day, it's probably not going to be our decision whether it stays or it doesn't. If we have an issue, but we can still certainly make the regulation.
Well, if we make the regulations, then it's going to stick to those regulations. If the commission, if that's our goal, if that is our assessment of these rules and we're making them, then it is going to stay there, meaning that they don't have.
No,
am I not understanding that correctly?
No. What I meant was if obviously we make the rules and regulations, and if someone violates or does something that is beyond what is in the rules and regulations, that's when it's out of our control.
Right, right. No, I hear you. Right. But if it falls underneath us, like that one fell underneath us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I was understanding that correctly.
No, but again, when we make these rules and regulations, we're certainly going to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody agrees with it, whether it's,
Right.
And I would include the DPW director on it. I mean, everybody has to be in agreement on it, or it's never going to work.
I think it is a foot around, from what I understand from Todd, it is a foot around. However, there's got to be a distinction between the stones, the decorative stones, and the ones that you're talking about. Okay.
Right.
We don't want the little stones on there in place of the bulk mark.
Right. I mean, if someone has a 1 foot arc in front of their stone, and they want to have a couple painted stones in there, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I'm talking about the other stones like I used to have.
Right. When it becomes a problem is when people put stones and things in front of their stone, but there's no distinction, there's no mulch or anything. It's just put there. That's when it becomes a problem.
Right. So we just need to explain it out easier so people. That's almost like gravel. That's more gravel. Right.
Yeah.
Your white gravel, right, that we don't want there.
Right.
No.
The other thing I just want to bring is that ruling again, I'm hoping that we can bury this, is the one about if you bought X amount of lots, you can only have 1 or 2 headstones, that goes away. I don't know where that came out of. It doesn't matter at this point in time, but from here on in, I'd like to make sure that is nowhere in anywhere, that if someone buys 5 lots and they want 5 different grave sites at them, then they can have that.
Right, I agree.
Right, I agree with it. But I don't think actually it's not even in the rules and regulations about that.
No, I know.
All it says is that you can have 1 stone per 2 grave lot. So it doesn't really go into if someone buys 4 lots. But it would, I agree. There's no reason why someone can't do that.
And the other thing I would like to mention that maybe you can look into when you write this up, Bill, is the first one says price per grave, $400. And then in parentheses it says 2 grave minimum. If a person only has 1 family member, or if it's just themselves, how are you going to why would you purchase a 2 grave minimum if there's only 1 person?
Well, basically what happens is in a situation like that, we in the past, we've taken it on a case-by-case basis. I mean, that's basically there because we want to sell it to a grave lot. But if someone really, is adamant and they just want 1, we generally accommodate them. But it's on a case-by-case basis. I mean, I don't want to have that in the rules that someone can buy 1 plot. I'd rather leave it the way it is, but if someone is adamant and they want 1, then we generally accommodate them.
But if they don't know that it's on a per case basis and they just see that, they might go to another cemetery.
No, but you
Well,
can put something like special arrangements can be made or something, however you want to word it, right, Bill?
I personally, I think it's better off leaving it the way it is. And if someone approaches Todd and wants a one grave lot, then he would ask us if we could do it. And we would probably say yes. That's the way it's happened in the past anyway. I don't believe he's ever told anybody they can't do that. I know they sold one grave lots before, but it doesn't happen very often. But I would prefer to leave it the way it is. And then if someone approaches him and asks him, then we'll decide if we can do it or not. I don't have a problem doing it.
We can discuss that later, I guess.
Yeah, no, we can discuss it. Again, we're trying to make these rules as simple and short as possible, you know?
Right.
I just don't want to open up a can of worms here where people, all of a sudden we have all these people, they want to have one grave lots. And I think it's, it's worked in the past that we make exceptions all the time. And if someone's adamant about it, then we generally let them do it. If someone's a Lunenburg resident, they certainly have the right to be buried there. And if they only have one, if they're by themselves, and if they want to buy a one grave lot, then I think they probably can.
Well, maybe we can put something at the bottom saying these are the regulations as decided by the commission. However, special requests can be made or something to that effect, but put it way at the bottom.
Yeah, we can talk about it. We can definitely talk about it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can think about it. Yeah, how to work. I see where you're going with that, Dave. I understand.
I mean, we probably wouldn't get that many, but you might get one every 2 years or one every 3 years, but it's just that one person that
I just know in the 5 years that I've been on, I don't recall having it happen once. So, like I said, it doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, everything is like a case by case basis. I mean, if someone, a couple of years ago, someone wanted to put a monument on that was exceeded the height regulation we had, and we had to. We didn't make an exception, but I mean, it was, we had a meeting and decided that it was okay to do it. But it's just, those are the type of things where it's kind of a case by case basis on what we allow and what we don't allow. But again, I think if we start off with these rules here, and we'll work from there and add and subtract and whatever we can come up with, just to make it a lot simpler, because it's right now, I don't think people need to have 3 pages of rules and regulations. It's way too complicated. So I will do that for the April meeting. I'm not going to set a date yet. We'll see what happens. We'll play it by ear. Unless anybody has anything else, I would accept the motion to adjourn.
I just have one question. Now, is Todd going to start coming to these meetings?
Unless they're in person, probably not.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure how that was working. I mean, he still knows he's invited, right?
No, I know. I know. I told him about the meeting. I told him, but
Okay.
I don't believe he has a computer. I don't believe he has a computer at, he has one at the cemetery, at the DPW, but.
Okay.
I don't know how you guys feel about this. I mean, do we intend on meeting in person anytime soon, or do you want to keep doing Zoom?
I didn't hear that, Bill. What'd you say?
I was going to say, how does everybody feel about these meetings? Do we want to continue with Zoom, or do we want to try to migrate back to meeting in person? I mean, some of these things, might be a lot more easier to do in person, especially the rules and regulations, instead of, in this format, but I'll do what anybody else wants. I mean, but at some point, maybe.
I think since the productivity rate's going down to just over 2%, we could probably meet in person starting in April. It's my opinion.
I mean, I'm just always going to have a mask on, especially where I've had it twice. Even though I've been fully vaccinated and boosted, I don't want to keep getting this darn thing. I can't even tell you how I got it the first 2 times. So, yeah, I mean, that's fine if everybody, I'll just sit there with a mask on, that's all.
No, I mean, I want to make sure everybody's comfortable. If you want to do April again with Zoom, we can do it and play it by ear. I mean, I want to make sure everybody's comfortable.
Well,
Dave, I mean,
I personally think we can do it in person. If you want to wear a mask, you can, because this is going to be just like the regular flu eventually. Like they're talking about, you're gonna probably have to take a booster every year, just like you take a flu shot every year. That's what it's going to be coming to, according to the CDC, from what I've been hearing. So I just think we can't be afraid of it, and we just have to go by what is happening.
yeah, I mean, I think we need to be smart and go, if we start to see an uptake of it in May timeframe, then we don't do it in May. But I mean, we go back to Zoom. April, we can try it because, like you said, Bill, it's going to be easier to be in person to do these rules and stuff.
Right, because I mean, it just makes it difficult here. If you have an idea, you want to jot it down, something, and it's just it makes it difficult doing it this way.
Yeah,
Right.
As far as Todd goes, I don't think he'll want to be coming to the meeting, from my last discussion with him. So.
Well, he'll always be invited. So hopefully by April there'll be a new director in there, and I'm looking forward to meeting him and or her. I suppose it could be a female, and trying to establish a new relationship. Work well with Rob, and hopefully we can continue and have it work as well as it did with him. So why don't we plan on meeting in person in April? And if something changes, we can always change our mind. But why don't we plan on that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Do they have any ideas of any people that are looking into the position yet? Do you know?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything.
Okay. You'd be one to hear it.
So it's 7 o'clock. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, 7:01 p.m.
I second it.
All in favor? Nancy?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And I for myself. All right, folks, have a good night. And Dave, have a
All
good
right.
trip, and have a good trip down to Texas.
Thank you very much. I'm
Yeah, be
looking forward
safe.
to it.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Night. Be safe.